GBN.GD, those of you watching on GBN TV channel 7, 11 and 20, and the folks listening to Classic 105.5, 105.9, Hot 98.5, 98.7. Thank you. Those of you joining us across the Caribbean and the rest of the world, happy to have you. This morning we are speaking tourism. We have Communications Manager at the Grenada Tourism Authority, Kimron Corion, and he has lots to share with us this morning, especially during these COVIDious times. Good morning, Mr. Corion.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for coming and being a guest this morning. This morning we're going to start with a project that I am excited about, being a Grenadian, the Pure Grenada Just For You campaign. I know this was recently launched last week, I believe it was, by the GTA. Tell us more about this campaign and what it's all about.
That is correct. Yeah, so Pure Grenada Just For You is our latest campaign. It was launched last week. And as we know that the country is now opened to regional and international traffic with certain restrictions. We also know that COVID-19 has had a devastating impact on not just the tourism industry in Grenada and across the world, but countries on a whole. So what we decided to do, knowing fully well that people may not be traveling at this point, we know that we had to start building the demand for the destination. But it's one thing to start building demand for the destination, but we know that we have to do that also in a way that highlights the destination as a safe destination where all the health protocols are being taken into consideration and are being made front and center of everything we do. So our campaign, Pure Grenada Just For You, does just that. The campaign highlights Destination Grenada as a destination where you can come to and experience, have a vacation, have an experience in a safe manner, knowing fully well that all the health and safety protocols are being taken into consideration to guarantee to safeguard all our visitors and our locals alike. So, you know, we want to let people know that they can tailor their vacation experiences. They can tailor their vacation experiences just for them in Pure Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean, in a safe manner.
Encouraging Grenadians, I'm going to say themselves, but ourselves, encouraging Grenadians to actually vacation here at home. I know over the past few months, maybe years, a lot has been done to encourage Grenadians to experience what visitors experience. How important is it that Grenadians actually get that experience at home?
Oh, that is very important, and that's the reason why prior to launching our Pure Grenada Just For You campaign, we launched our Paradise at Home campaign. And Paradise at Home did just that. The aim of Paradise at Home was to encourage locals, citizens and residents of Grenada to go out and experience the destination, experience what our visitors experience when they come here. And that's very important, simply because you know, sometimes we have our visitors coming in and they do not necessarily have an itinerary, they don't have plans of where they really want to go, and they will reach out to locals. You know, I have had persons connect with me on a flight coming over to Grenada saying, hey, I'm going to Grenada for the next 2 weeks. What do you recommend I do while I'm there? Or I've heard about this thing, I've heard about the underwater sculpture park. What's the experience like? How do I get there? And if as a local we do not have that experience or we do not know, then we may not be able to effectively communicate and answer them in a way that really and truly sells the destination. And you know, we all have a responsibility, right, to ensuring that visitors sees Grenada as the best place that they can come to and visit.
In, like you say, selling Grenada to visitors and to Grenadians themselves, what exactly is involved in the campaign? What features, sites, special deals, and so can people who want to participate in the Just for Fun promotion expect?
So as part of Just for You, what we try to do is, because we know that Grenada is not a mass tourist destination, right? So that's the reason why we lend ourselves very well to having those off the beaten path experiences, to ensuring that visitors can come in and they can personalize the experience. They can have a bespoke experience just for them. And so what you find happening is we sort of decided we're going to look at some of those off the beaten path places that people can go to. So we're not going to the regular tourist attraction that everybody goes to, because we want to avoid like mass gathering and so. So we went off the beaten path. Showing and highlighting places in St. David's, highlighting places in St. Patrick's, close to River Antoine. These are some of the areas you will find in the campaign: Carriacou and Petite Martinique. Like really going away from the regular thing that tourists will find when they come here. We want them to know, hey, you can really and truly go out there and experience the destination, showing places like Bathway and some of those other beaches that, are not regular tourist attraction.
Bouncing back from COVID-19, you just alluded to it. What do we have in place to ensure that protocols are adhered to, even as we try to encourage visitors and locals alike to explore Grenada? How are we bouncing back?
No, absolutely, yeah, and that's very important. That's the key, because if we are to bounce back and bounce back effectively and efficiently, then we need to ensure that we have all the mechanisms in place to guarantee the health and safety of our locals and our visitors alike. So what we've done is we have worked on protocols for all our 6 tourism subsectors. So looking at things like our accommodation sector, our transportation sector, food and beverage, water sport, tourism services, like all our 6 tourism subsectors, we have created protocols that they need to follow. And also we've trained everyone in those protocols on what they should expect, to do as it relates to helping to ensure and guarantee the health and safety of our visitors when they're coming in, right? So we have been doing a lot to ensure that we can bounce back in an efficient and effective way. We've been working with a lot of our stakeholders, our major stakeholders, the Grenada Hotel and Tourism Association, GHTA. We've been working along with the airport. We've been working along with the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Tourism, all working together to ensure that, one, Grenada is seen as a safe destination, but 2, that we are really safe and ensuring that all our attractions and so are COVID ready.
I know over the past few weeks as well, the GTA has been hosting a number of training for taxi drivers, tour operators. How has that helped in our COVID-19 bounce back?
Yeah, so that has helped tremendously, because what we find happening is when visitors are seeing that we are taking the time to train all our stakeholders, the taxi drivers, the tour operators, the buses, they are given that confidence that Grenada is taking their health and safety seriously. So once they have that confidence in the destination, then it becomes easier for them to make the decision to want to come here. So it's very important that we do all those training and ensure that when a visitor comes in, or even when a local goes out, that the different establishments and the different accommodation, the taxis and everybody are prepared to deal with that visitor or that local who's going out to enjoy, let's say, a paradise at home, for example. So that's very important because it helps to build the visitor confidence in the destination.
How would our marketing, and I guess this is a good question for you, marketing communications manager at GTA, how would the marketing change going forward? Because we can no longer do business as usual that we've done in 2019 and before. So going forward in these times, how can marketing or how has marketing of Grenada changed?
So what we find happening is the first thing that we look at is the attention of the person that we're trying to reach. So where are they paying attention to? And we've noticed that with COVID-19, there has been a serious shift online. People are going online to express their frustration at not being able to travel. They're going online and talk about past experiences that they would have had. So based on what our end consumer, our visitors or potential visitors are saying, then we tailor our marketing to suit that. So, and that's one of the reasons why early in COVID, in the COVID period, we launched our campaign, Grenada Dreaming, because we saw that people were online, and it was a digital campaign. People were online, they were expressing a desire to travel, talking about the dreams that they have of travel one day. And so we launched a campaign, Grenada Dreaming, within that ecosystem, a digital campaign to deal with that. So going forward, there is going to be a heavy focus on using digital technology, and by digital technology, not just looking at social media, for example, but digital across the board, where there is looking at maybe doing some sort of advertising within certain apps. Maybe we may have to somehow get on like Netflix, right? That's where everyone is spending their time watching other shows now. How do we capitalize on that attention? So there's a big shift. There's a big shift towards digital, and so that's what we're going to be capitalizing on going forward as well.
The GTA website also has the travel advisory for people coming into the island. What can you share about that travel advisory, what it says, and what visitors need to be mindful of in that travel advisory before and after arriving in the Spice Isle?
Okay, so the travel advisory it updates on an ongoing basis as the situation unravels with COVID. So I would not specifically mention anything in particular because it's possible that by the time this conversation is done, that it changed.
Understood.
Right? So it's ongoing. But what I will say, it's important to pay attention to the fact that before traveling to Grenada, you need to have a negative PCR test done, and it needs to be done within 7 days of travel. And when you get here, another test will be done as well, and you can follow the protocol from there. What I will recommend people do is, in addition to checking out puregrenada.com, that they also check covid19.gov.gd, which is the Ministry of Health COVID-19 website, where the protocols are updated on a more frequent and ongoing basis.
While we're speaking, I just received an email about Grenada receiving the TTC Safe Travel stamp for safety protocols. Can you explain what that means for us?
Yes. That, and we are extremely proud of that. The World Travel and Tourism Council, WTTC, they're the governing body worldwide, right, for travel and tourism. And what they've been doing is they have been looking at different destinations, looking at the different protocols that those destinations have in place, and looking to see whether or not it's in line with the world standards, with the standards across the world. And what they're doing in some parts is saying, hey, we are recommending these protocols and this protocol be followed. In Grenada's case, what has happened is after they would have reviewed our protocols, they've stated, okay, Grenada's protocols and Grenada's guidelines are in line with world standards. So they have now given us the approval, the TTC stamp of approval, with our guidelines. So pretty much we are a World Travel and Tourism Council approved destination based on the protocols that we have in place. So it goes to show that the work that we have been doing is not in vain, and it's in line with international standards.
What needs to be done to ensure that we keep that stamp of approval? Because with COVID-19 always evolving, every day is probably something new. We've opened up MBIA to regional and international travelers. What does the GTA, or what role does the GTA play in ensuring that we keep that stamp of approval and ensure that everyone follows the regulations as they should? How would we enforce that?
Yeah, so what we need to do is to just ensure that we do not drop the ball from our end. We can't drop the ball. We have to ensure that we keep looking at the different tourism subsectors, whether it's accommodation, food and beverage, ensuring that they're adhering to the protocols and the guidelines that are out there to protect locals and visitors alike. We have to ensure that from our end, we are doing all that we have to do, collaborating with our stakeholders, whether it's the airport authority, whether it's the GHTA, whether it's the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Health, ensuring that we're all in communication with everyone and working together to not drop the ball and to ensure that all the protocols and guidelines that we have in place are in fact being adhered to and followed. Sometimes we tend to say, well, there's no COVID in Grenada, so we might want to drop the ball a little bit and lapse a little bit. But unfortunately, at this point, as long as the threat of COVID is still out there, we just have to ensure that we stay on top of everything that's happening.
I agree with that. Let's take a quick break, Mr. Corion, and then we're going to come back with more of the discussion. We're speaking with Communications Manager at the Grenada Tourism Authority, Kimron Corion, looking at COVID-19, bouncing back from COVID-19. This is To The Point Classic, GBN Hot 98. We'll be right back.
We set out to build something, not for us, but for you. In 1932, we set out on a mission to establish an institution that catered to the financial needs of every Grenadian. We envisioned a space where our people felt secure and welcome to do business with familiar faces. This was more than a commercial enterprise. Because we considered you to be family, we saw ourselves as building more than just a bank. We likened this establishment to a house. Since we opened our doors in 1933, you've remained with us ever since, growing with us and saving with us, but most importantly, trusting us to safeguard your interests. Through unrest and turmoil, you put your faith in us to be the shelter against adversity. Your trust is the foundation upon which we continue to build to provide stability and support for your dreams and aspirations. Your trust helped our family to grow, and as we grew, your needs grew in tandem. So we developed, expanding our accommodations to make you comfortable, transforming our humble abode to a modern center of business and commerce, while preserving our warm, friendly, family atmosphere. As we furnished our house with efficient services, you decorated our offices, walkways, and counters with smiles, love, and satisfaction, giving us the impetus to improve and do more. It took vision to build this establishment, and our vision has always revolved around the well-being of our people. It is vision that continues to guide our development, a vision of growth, a vision of expansion, a vision of the future. A vision that recognizes that the world is a global village and that technology has become an integral part of our lives. A vision that embraces the efficiencies of technology and its importance in diversifying our corporate and retail portfolios. A vision that represents your vision, your interests, and your needs. You see, we built a house, but it didn't take us long to realize that people, our people, make it home. Welcome home.
Welcome back to The Point. We're speaking with Communications Manager at the Grenada Tourism Authority, Kimron Corion, bouncing back from the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Corion, I wanted to ask about the Pure Grenada Just For You campaign. One of the concerns / complaints / comments that we've had from locals relates to rates of the hotels that we have here in Grenada. And maybe the customer service of some of our tourism stakeholders. First of all, let's start with the hotels. How have these hotels come on board with offering competitive rates to ensure that Grenadians can actually participate in the Just For You campaign? Let's start there before we go to the stakeholders.
Okay, so it's two campaigns, right? I just want to mention that. So the Paradise at Home would be the campaign that you're making reference to, which is our local campaign that encourages our locals to go out and experience the destination and visit one of the local accommodation, whether one of the hotels, guest house, or so that we have ongoing. And we do have a number of our accommodations have come on board and offered different things, whether it's 3 nights for the price of 2, whether it's complimentary breakfast, whether it's a full reduction of their rates, and so we do have that. We've also heard some of those comments, and we are working with our stakeholders. The GHTA is one of our major stakeholders, and we are working with our stakeholders to ensure that the different offers that we get are proper, adequate, good enough, so that our locals can take advantage. And there are different offers. So what I would recommend persons do is visit puregrenada.com under the deals section, and they can look at the different accommodations and what they're offering. So it's not just one accommodation, for example, that's offering a particular rate. There are a host of different ones. So it is possible that maybe one may not be suited for one person, but another might be. So we have different offerings from different hotels. So I would recommend persons go to puregrenada.com under our hot deal section and look at the various offers that we have there from the different accommodation, from the different hotels, and that's part of our Paradise at Home campaign, where we are encouraging our locals and our residents and citizens to go out and explore and experience the destination.
And our tourism stakeholders, we've had complaints of Grenadians not feeling as welcomed by some of our stakeholders, meaning taxi drivers, maybe those people who operate at various sites like the waterfalls and lakes and so on. How has the GTA worked with the stakeholders to ensure that they are customer friendly with everybody, despite where you're living, the color of your skin, your race, and so on and so forth? Because sometimes we feel like they're nicer to the foreigners than they are to their own people.
And again, that's one of the reasons why we did the Paradise at Home campaign, because we wanted to let our stakeholders know that our locals and residents are also an important part of the equation. When we launched the campaign, A Paradise at Home, what we stated was we wanted to help kickstart the local tourism industry, right? And that has really helped. Our locals have really, taken up the challenge of helping us kickstart the local tourism industry. So they are a very important partner with us in the tourism industry. So, it is important that they are treated as such, and that's why we launched that campaign to show that our locals are really a valued part of that equation.
All right. At this point, we would invite our viewers and listeners who may have questions as it relates to tourism for Mr. Corion. This is your opportunity to respectfully ask your questions. You can call us on the landline 435-2041. You can message us on the WhatsApp, only written messages on the WhatsApp. It's also 435-2041. You can also participate on the GBN Television Facebook page and the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel. Let's go to our first caller. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, Blossom, and to all your followers this morning. And to Kimron, good morning to you, Mr. Corion. Congratulations on your I would say, recent appointment. This is Jude Bernard. Welcome home. Now, a couple of things. Well, the first one, and main one, has to do with that advisory. We all accept the fact that the entire world is I would say, in emergency mode. It's a global pandemic, and persons everywhere are advised to travel only as is necessary. We also understand the situation with our limited health resources in terms of if there is an outbreak in Grenada. And lastly, I would also say that we are not eager to welcome American visitors, not out of any discrimination, but because of the risk. But for United States of America to single out, islands in the Caribbean as being high risk, this is absurd. I mean, in America today, over 15,700 persons per million has COVID. For every million person, almost 16,000 persons has COVID. If you equate that to Grenada, it's about 213 persons per million of our population. Let's assume we had 1 million people here. So they are 75 times more likely to catch it in America than if they come here. So what does that say? What sense does that make? I mean, it's good that the World Travel and Tourism Council has come now and given you that designation, which chose this whole thing into, it makes it look so even more absurd. But I think the Caribbean Tourism Organization should make representation, because I think it's some other islands in the Caribbean, the Eastern Caribbean, and let America know that this cannot be done. This is unfair.
Okay.
And I think that some approach should be taken to have us struck from that list. Not that we want them to come. Trust me, we don't really need that. But I think we need to have them stop misrepresenting the situation in our islands.
Okay.
That's my point here.
Thank you very much. Mr. Corion?
No, I get the point.
There is a Facebook question that asks, will they have, meaning folks who participate in the Just For You campaign, will they have free access to all beaches as well as sites such as waterfalls?
So, as it stands right now, when people come in to Grenada, there are a lot of different protocols and guidelines that they have to go through. And depending on what happens at the airport based on that interaction there, they may have limited mobility, meaning that they may not be able to go around to all the attractions, all the beaches as they could have back before COVID, right? So it really depends. It really depends on what happens on that interaction at the airport that will determine the kind of mobility that they will have.
All right, let's, well, there's a WhatsApp question. I guess it's on the same line that I was going. How do you justify the effectiveness of the program when the average Grenadian cannot afford to stay at a hotel due to people not being employed at the moment? Also, the people who can afford it are the ones who are accustomed to staying in hotels or are already used to it. Would love to see at the end of the outcome of the program. Okay, yeah. Back to the phones. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, Citizens Welsh, and good morning to your guests. Brief comment, 2 questions. We have heard from the authorities of this here country that everything is in place. I suppose, I understand, of course, that everything is in place. When I hear everything, I say everything. We've been told that the necessary precautions are taken at the entrance of the port and otherwise, at immigration, that we have established an advanced passenger information system in place, travel history and all of that, everything, I take it. Can you guess there, tell us therefore, what went wrong that individual, which the news reported this morning, slipped through the crack, claiming that he came from one country when he came from another? Can you tell us how that happened? And are we to believe, in effect, that what the ambitions of the government so desires or are is in fact the reality? Would he agree that there are some major shortcomings somewhere along the line? I'd like to have an explanation. And the second thing is, even what the last caller touched on. It has to do with that communique, whatever we care to call it, the advisory from the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control of the United States. That has been done. They did what they have the advisory. What does the government, or so should I say the tourism authority, intend to do about this, which is in effect misleading? Just imagine Satan correcting sin. What does our authority intend to do about that? Have a nice day, will you, Citizen Welsh?
Thank you, Citizen Rollo. You do the same. Mr. Corion?
Yeah, so as it relates to the first question in terms of what happened, and so I don't have information on that. So there's nothing I can share on that. As it relates to the second part, which looks at what the US is doing, again, we don't have any control over decisions taken in the US as it relates to the advisories. So I guess from our end, we just have to do what we have to do to ensure that Grenada remains a COVID-free destination, and do ensure that all the protocols that we have in place and all the guidelines are being adhered to guarantee the safety of our locals and our visitors.
Can the GTA do anything? I know you may not be able to reveal what the plan would be, but can the GTA do anything to change the US's or the CDC's ranking of Grenada when it comes to that? Or we have no control over that at all? So that's their ranking. We don't have control over that. Okay, understood. And Citizen Rollo, I believe that the question about the runaway man, that would be for the RGPF, specifically maybe Immigration Department, not the GTA. Let me go back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning to you, and morning to your guests. So I listened to the gentleman very carefully, and I am very concerned. Now, I was looking at the area of tourism, agriculture, the building industry, and to some extent light manufacturing for the resuscitation of our economy, knowing that the economy have not grown and is not likely to grow for a long time. What angle would the GTA take as it relates to propelling the tourism industry forward? Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Mr. Corion?
Yeah, so that's what we've been talking about, the launch of our latest campaign, Pure Grenada Just for You, is to help to build the demand for the destination. And everything that we do from the GTA is to highlight and showcase Grenada as a destination of choice for travelers across the world, so that when someone is thinking about taking a vacation, they will consider Grenada as the destination of choice. So everything that we're doing, as is evident with our latest campaign, is to help the tourism industry in Grenada to rebound.
There's a WhatsApp question that asks, do you think the branding of the name Pure Grenada made a difference in tourism than the Isle of Spice as we previously known it? If yes, can you compare the difference for us in numbers and figures or percentage?
So I just want to mention something real quick. Pure Grenada did not replace Isle of Spice. The destination name is Pure Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean. That's the full brand. So it was Grenada Isle of Spice. It's now Pure Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean. So it's pretty much there, right? And the spice of the Caribbean. The reason why we say spice of the Caribbean is because it goes to show, one, what we're known for, the spices, and two, where we are in the Caribbean. Because as you may be aware, there are a bunch of different Grenadas out there. There's Grenada in Mississippi, Grenada in Spain. So it really helps to set Grenada apart, to let people know we are here, Pure Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean. This is what we're known for, and this is where we're located.
All right, back to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. So, I would like to ask you this question. Suppose I'm a dual citizen. That means I have a Grenadian passport and I have an American passport. I am reasonably healthy in America, but I'm showing that I'm healthy in America, and it so happened that I get on the flight, and when I reach into so I'm a healthy carrier, and this big word you always use, what is asymptomatic? Whichever way you want to put it, a healthy carrier, and I do not know. And I came to Grenada, and I landed on the airport, and when I reached, maybe I came in with $500 or 500 pounds, and then it so happened that I have they allege that I have the virus, because as you know, you could have bad readings. And in fact, some people cannot even read this thing, because I have the experience. I won't tell you where, with the temperature and so on and so on. No, and they said that it's likely that I have the virus, and they decide to quarantine me. But bear in mind, I have dual citizenship. And maybe I have a place where I could go, because I intended maybe to go to a hotel. And it so happened that I no longer can go to the hotel, because it is alleged that I'm asymptomatic. So what could become of me? Would you release me, or you all tourist office or the government would release me and let me go at my family where I could be quarantined? Or would they determine me that I have to stay in the place and then I have to pay the $900 or the $9,000? Is that encouraging to tourists? When I know I may come and then I would be taken up because I alleged you're encouraging tourists. Is that encouragement?
Okay. Thank you, caller. Mr. Corion?
Yeah, so anything to deal with the quarantine process and what has to be done, I will encourage the caller to contact the Ministry of Health, and they will give him all the information that he needs.
Let me see. There was a question on the WhatsApp. Right. Why can't locals be given the opportunity to enjoy paradise under normal circumstances? Is it because of a drop in foreign tourist arrivals?
I'm not sure I fully understand. Why can't locals?
In other words, why we're being offered the opportunity to enjoy paradise at home. Prior to COVID, or they didn't study in us, unquote.
Oh, that's okay. Weirdly enough, we have over the years, the GTA have launched numerous staycation campaigns. Right, so this is ultimately, I mean, maybe that's a word that we know, staycation. We're just not using it. No, we call it paradise at home because Grenada is a paradise. But over the years, a number of staycation campaigns have been launched. So this is not the first time.
I agree with that one. This is not the first one. On that note, though, let's take another quick break and then we're going to come back just about 2 minutes. This is To The Point with Communications Manager at the Grenada Tourism Authority, Kimron Corion. We'll be right back.
COVID-19 spreads from person to person through the droplets that are produced when someone coughs or sneezes, which makes it easy to spread between people in close contact. Now let's get prepared to stay healthy. To reduce your chance of catching or spreading COVID-19, practice these simple everyday preventative measures. Droplets can also land on surfaces, so ensure that you wash your hands frequently for a minimum of 20 seconds or sing the happy birthday song twice. Avoid touching your face, especially your eyes, nose, and mouth. If soap and water are not readily available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with an alcohol content between 60 and 90%. 70% is ideal. When you cough or sneeze, cover your nose and mouth with a flexed elbow or a tissue. Dispose of the tissue immediately and then wash your hands. If you notice someone has a fever and cough or other symptoms of respiratory illness, avoid close contact when possible. Let's all do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. Our health is our collective responsibility.
Welcome back to The Point. We're speaking with Communications Manager at the GTA, Kimron Corion, bouncing back from COVID-19 impact. Let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Blossom. How are you doing? Morning to the gentleman. Yeah, the gentleman, I find he making some good comments there, but I have some, just maybe 2 or 3 little things to say. Concerning the pure Grenada and the spice, for me, since I hear that and I look at a lot of situations and things in Grenada, I will call it poor Grenada today. It's poor Grenada. Secondly, one of the reasons why Sir Eric used to have a majority of the ordinary people behind him is because you have to find ways of communicating with people. And every high language or words you say, or he said, Mr. Gary, break it up for the ordinary man to understand it, because not everyone is collective or very understanding of some of the communicated words. And I am someone that's been trying to do one simple little thing in the tourism industry since 1991. And I try up to 2005. And I'm not successful, even a lawyer. If I could see you, sir, or get your number, I get in touch with you and take you and show you what I want to do. Because I have a property that could enhance certain things. But I'm a person that like to be creative and do things. I did that business when the government, when in 1983, when the government, when things was bad here and the government said to all local people, come up with ideas and try to do something and open up your property and try to do something for ourselves. And I come up with a creative thing. And it is basically for Grenadians. I don't want to deal any much thing have to do with the tourism, but I just want to add one little thing to my business. And since 1991, I'm trying to get that little one thing to be done up to today. I try a liar. I don't know what is the hatred or what is someone inside there have against me. But as Grenada is not for tourism in Grenada is not for everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any response, Mr. Corion?
No.
There is a Facebook question that asks, can you tell us what the tourism department is doing to accommodate the loss in revenue that comes from the red zone countries not being allowed in Grenada?
The loss in revenue.
In revenue. Now that we don't have, most of our tourists come from the US and parts of Europe. Now that we don't have them coming into the island during these COVID times, how would we make up for the loss in revenue in tourism?
Well,
The Pure Grenada brand is more than Isle of Spice. Can you indicate if there is a comparative data between the promotion of Pure Grenada and Isle of Spice?
So, like, I don't have Pure Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean, is working because in 2018, we had a record number of visitors coming into the destination. You know, over 500,000 for the very first time ever, right? And then in 2019, the same thing happened again. We broke the 500,000 mark in visitors for the second time. So we know that it's working. We know that it's working. The numbers, the people that are coming in to the destination is proof of that.
Okay. Back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller.
If you need it.
All right, we lost that caller. There's a question on Facebook. At a time like now, with what COVID is doing outside of Grenada, do you believe it is prudent that we are encouraging tourists into the island? Is it worth the risk of Grenadian lives?
The health and safety of our locals is of paramount importance. It's the what's front and center for us. Now, what we are doing now, because as it stands right now, people are not traveling. People are not traveling, right? We know that. However, we know that we have to eventually, when they start traveling, whether they start traveling in December, January next year, whenever people start traveling again, there's going to be a lot of destinations out there clamoring for people to come to them. So we have to start building the demand for the destination, and that's what we're doing. We're out here. That's why we launched Pure Grenada Just for You, so we could build up the demand for the destination, so that when people start traveling, when it is safe to travel again, that people will consider Grenada. We know that right now, people are not going to come in. You have a 2-week vacation. You're going to come into Grenada and spend that 2 weeks in quarantine. Like it's just not wise. So right now we're not anticipating any visitors coming in like right now, but we are preparing for when it's safe to travel again, that Grenada is considered as a destination of choice.
Yes, Blossom, good morning.
Morning.
I'm trying to call. I don't call in about tourism. I just want to interrupt your program a little because the traffic like in Paradise is giving a real problem. And I'm trying to call Grenville Police Station to complain about it. But to me, like, they might sleeping still because they work hard for the weekend. So,
okay, I'll call them and let them know.
Yes,
all right, thank you
very much. Tell them fix it now because it's causing problem.
All right, thank you very much, caller. There's a question on the Facebook. Somebody saying there are many locals involved in doing hikes and going to undiscovered places within the country. How can the GTA work with them? And is the GTA willing to engage with them? The people, I guess, who are not on the list of tourism stakeholders and who are willing. Have you engaged with them or can you?
They can reach out to us or reach out to me in particular. And I'm willing to look at what they're doing and work together because, I'm always happy to see our locals getting involved in different tourism activities, whether it's hiking, whether it's doing tours, whatever. So yeah, they can reach out to us, and we can see what it exactly they're doing and how we can support.
All right. As we close the program this morning, Mr. Corion, any final words?
Yeah. So I just want to encourage Grenadians or citizens and residents to, take the protocols that are out there serious. I will encourage us to follow all the guidelines that's out there, for our health, our protection, and our safety, and also to ensure the health and safety of our visitors when they do start coming in again. And yeah, we know that the tourism industry has been severely impacted, and we are doing everything that we need to do to ensure that a speedy recovery. But that's something that we all have to do together. We all have to work together to ensure that the tourism industry comes back to those pre-COVID times. So I'm encouraging everyone to work along with us, work along with the tourism authority so that we can all get back to a place where the benefits that we used to enjoy from tourism will be back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Corion. Thank you for being our guest. You have yourself a good day and continue to stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Communications Manager at the Grenada Tourism Authority, Kimron Corion. We thank him for being our guest this morning, and thank you, our viewers and listeners, for tuning in. That's the end of my time today. Joseph is up next with Mid-Morning Buzz. He'll take you to midday. I'll be back with you tomorrow, God willing. Until then, stay safe, stay home if you do not need to be on the road. Go to work. It is a normal working day. Have yourselves a very blessed Monday.